Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and today we are going to rank the studio albums of Journey. All 15 studio albums. We're not going to include any live albums. This has been a lot of fun going through their discography. You know, really, there's like 4 different kind of eras, if you will, of Journey. There's those first 3 albums without Steve Perry. The Greg Raleigh led vocals and kind of more of a post Santana kind of instrumental rock, jammy type of stuff. Then there's the 3 albums with Perry and Raleigh. We have a pretty distinct Jonathan Cain era after Raleigh leaves. With those 4 albums, Escape, Frontiers, Raised on Radio, and Trial by Fire. And then really just a post-Perry era made up of Steve Augeri and then, of course, Arnel Pineda. Unlike some of my rankings where I go track by track and they get 30, 40 minutes long, I'm going to try to just keep this more concise. Let me say this. There's not a bad album. There's definitely albums that I like better than others. There's definitely albums where they're searching for that magic sound again and those hits. We're going to get started off with their most recent disc called Freedom. So this comes out in 2020. Ross Valory's no longer in the band. Steve Smith is no longer on drums. Bring in Randy Jackson on bass. And bring in Narada Michael Walden, who helps who helps write almost every one of these songs. It starts off with a banger, Together We Run. Really nice song. Arnel Pineda, of course, is on vocals. Jonathan Cain's shown. Don't Give Up on Us is okay. Still Believe in Love. I like it. I got the Best of Me. Again, it's kind of front-loaded with some nice songs that kind of bring back that stuff. They even bring back some Frontiers era keyboards. It really starts to dwindle away from there. It's a 73-minute album and 15 songs. Coming in at 14 is the second album with Steve Augeri. So Steve Augeri replaces the great Steve Perry. This is the second record. And it's not nearly as good, in my opinion, as the first one, Arrival, that they do. This also has lead vocals by every member of the band. In fact, it's a Kevin Ellison production. Ross Valory sings a song even called Gone Crazy. Schoen sings in Self-Defense. Dean Castronova, drummer, who has an amazing Perry-like voice and sings live with them sometimes on a couple songs live. A Better Life and Never Too Late. This is a good record. And again, none of these are bad records. By the way, lots of their albums have that Scarab beetle on them, on the albums. The beetle. Their manager, Herbie Herbert, decided that would be a cool thing to put on their records. And most of them have that beetle. Coming in at 13, and the next 2 could be kind of interchangeable. I'm going to go with 2011's Eclipse. This is their 14th record. It's their second album with Arnel Pineda. It's really good. It's a pretty hard rock album. There's the inside. 66-minute record, produced by Cain, Schoen, and Kevin Shirley. This has got things like Resonate, which I really like, Ritual, which I really like, City of Hope, which I like, Tantra, Venus, which is an instrumental that closes the record out. There's that Scarab beetle. Scarab beetle? Anyway, and again, the next one is their first with Arnel. And those last 2, Eclipse and this album, Revelation, which is their 13th record. It came out in 2008. It's produced by Kevin Shirley. Again, a 66-minute record. These are hour-long albums. This actually has a double, which has them doing live stuff too. A live album of their classics with Arnell, just showing that they can use Arnell that way. This is damn good. You know, they sound pretty refreshed here. I think it's a little bit better than Eclipse because of songs like Never Walk Away, you know, Like a Sun Shower. You know, again, after the Perry career, they're always going to go back and try to hit you with a ballad, right? A big, you know, escape era ballad type of thing. They do a nice job here, but it only comes in at 12. Coming in at 11 is the last one that we would do with Steve Perry, and really, maybe Trial by Fire could even be lower, not higher, but lower in my thing. This is return of Steve Smith, return of Ross Valory. You know, they've gone 10 years without a record. This is 1996. Kind of a weird cover. The back with everybody kind of looking off in different directions. Steve Smith doesn't have hair. You know, it opens up with a great song, Message of Love, which really feels like it could have been raised on the radio. If She Loves a Woman's next. It's a 71-minute album, okay? So we've gone from the 80s and 44-minute records to 71 minutes, and that's where these records suffer. The second half of this album is nothing but ballads trying to figure out the formula to that big radio song. But by 1996, times have changed and people aren't listening to this type of music. It's like they waited too long. It's similar to what Def Leppard did, just waiting through a generation of fans and then coming out with something and it's too little too late. And they would break up after this. And of course, get Augeri, and the rest is history. And that's where we're going to come in next with Steve Augeri's first album in 2000 called Arrival. Songs like Living to Do, Higher Place, Signs of Life. We Will Meet Again. Kiss Me Softly. There's some ballads too. They're going for some of the ballads in 2000 here. There's that cool cover. But it feels, again, like they're revitalized in that they have something that they're going for. Whereas Trial by Fire, the previous one, feels like a band that's totally toast, totally tired of each other, running out of ideas and running on fumes. And that's why Arrival is ahead of Trial by Fire. We're going to go into the top 10. And maybe this is controversial, maybe it's not, but Look Into the Future is next. Look Into the Future is their second album. It came out in 76. It's produced by Journey and Glenn Collican. It's 41 minutes long. You know, this is a quartet album made up of Ross Valory, Ainsley Dunbar, Schoen, Valerie, like I said, and Greg Raleigh. What do I like on this record? You know, it's on a Saturday night. Is a great little rocker. Anyways, pretty cool. She makes me free. All right. Really like that song. Midnight Dreamer's pretty cool. There's some stuff on here that I kind of don't like, though. It's a little too soft at times. You got this great guitar player. You're not necessarily utilizing him fully. And for some reason, Greg Raleigh tries to sound like John Lennon a little bit to me. Also sounds a little bit like Greg Lake. Look at that album cover. Greg Lake meets John Lennon. I don't know. We're coming in at number 9 with Look Into the Future. Coming in next at 8 is the album that comes after it, called Next. Next comes out in 77. It's the last album as a 4-piece. And this is a better record. Spaceman, I really like. People And here we are. Again, he's using that kind of John Lennon thing. Am I crazy that he has a Beatles thing? He definitely has a Beatles thing going on. In fact, on the previous one, It's All Too Much does have a George Harrison song on it, right? This I like better. And I love that back cover. These guys looking like they're having some fun. Ainsley. We got Raleigh. We got Ross Valerie. We got Ainsley Dunbar. And we got Neil Schon, the great Neil Schon. Karma is a cool song. Hustler is awesome. This is a cool record. A stoner record, totally. Coming in next, and maybe some people are going to blow me up for putting Raised on Radio next, but you know what? It's got 3 bona fide classics, and you can say what you want about Girl Can't Help It. I love it. You can say what you want about Be Good to Yourself. The way that kicks off, I'll Be All Right Without You, to some nice R&B. Steve Smith is on some of this record, but he's not on the whole thing. Larry London plays most of the drums here. Randy Jackson again is here. We got an album cover that I don't think really features their Beatle on it. Positive Touch, though, is a cool song. Suzanne's kind of a cool song. You know, there's some fluff here. This is a very kind of adult contemporary album. It's very much 86. But you can't deny those 3 big songs, and that's why it's coming in at 7. Now we're in the top 6. And I think it's fair to put Frontiers next. Totally awesome album cover. Got the guys skydiving on the back. This is 1983. 6 times platinum, produced by Mike Stone and Kevin Elser. 44 minutes long. Really great first side with Separate Ways, Center of My Love, Chain Reaction, After the Fall, Faithfully. We got Rubicon that closes it out. Edge of the Blade. You know, Jonathan Cain's firmly entrenched with Schon and Perry as the songwriting team. This is a pretty damn good record. I had a chance to see this tour in 83, but I was only 10, and I was dumb enough to tell my parents that I was going to spend the night at a guy's house and that we were going to see Journey. And they said, no, you're not. I should have spent the night at the guy's house and gone with his sister. That was stupid. Coming in next, and the next couple are interchangeable. At 5, 1980s Departure. There's the Return of the Beatle. Here's the Guys. This is the last album with Raleigh. And this is just awesome. Maybe of the 3 albums with Raleigh and Perry, maybe it's my least favorite. Side 1, Any Way You Want It, Walks Like a Lady, Someday Soon is nice, People and Places is a cool song. Second side, Where Were You? Good Morning Girl, Departure, Line of Fire. Maybe not quite as strong of those top 5 albums, and that's why it is at number 5, and we're going to go into number 4. Now we're really getting into some great stuff, and probably my favorite album cover of all of their albums is Evolution from 1979. This is 3 times platinum. Jeff Workman, Kevin Ellison producing. Again, only 37 minutes. All these earlier albums are 37 minutes. Look at that cover. Look at the guys. I remember my brother having this in the basement and just looking at those afros and so forth. And what's on this? We got Steve Smith in the band. So this is the first album with Steve Smith. Still got Raleigh, you got Schon, you got Valerie, you got Perry. You got Sweet and Simple, Just the Same Way, which is one of my favorite songs. Do You Recall? City of the Angels, Love and Touch and Squeezin'. Too Late. Majestic. Loving You Is Easy. This is an awesome record, and that's why it's coming in at 4. Now, we're in the top 3. And, you know, whereas Next and Look in the Future really don't work for me as much, their debut does work for me. It came out in 1975. This is a quintet with George Tickner on rhythm guitar. The only album that he's featured on. Roy Haley produces it. It is a 37-minute album. We're talking about, just some classic Journey stuff here. And, of course, I can't see the songs. We got Topaz on here. We got, what do we have on here? Mystery Mountain. This is more of a Lifetime, of course. It opens up the album. Coda Tukek. God, I can't see the writing on here. Yeah, Mystery Mountain closes this thing. Topaz might be my favorite of theirs to play. This is more of a post-Santana record with some of that fusion. I hate to use fusion. People always want to talk about, this. Look at those guys up close. They want to use fusion. It's more of a jam rock album than it is a true fusion album. But it works here. And I think Schoen displays his guitar talents here well. There's some good songwriting here, whereas the next two records, Looking into the Future and Next, a little bit weaker on the songwriting. Again, just some absolute classics, though, of a lifetime. Mystery Mountain and Topaz. That's why that's coming in at 3. How can you deny the hits that are on Escape? 1981, 10 times platinum. It's a diamond album. Mike Stone and Kevin Ellison. How about this first side? Don't Stop Believin'. Stone in Love. Who's Crying Now? Keep on Running. Still They Ride. And then Escape on the next time. Open Arms. Mother and Father. I mean, there's some ballads here. Some people are saying, oh, Ryan, this is too much of a, ballads and whatever. Well, I like listening to this. And what I've done here is list these out really in the order that I like to listen to them to. Where I would grab them if I had to listen to one. That's why this is coming in at number 2. And then last, we're going to come in with Infinity. The fourth album, 1978, 3 times platinum. Roy Thomas Baker on production, 36 minutes. You got the back cover with the guys. Ainsley Dunbar is still on drums, so no Steve Smith yet. You got the original kind of quartet with Steve Perry. And of course, we got Wheel in the Sky, one of probably my favorite song by them. Something to Hide, La Doo Da, Open the Door, Feeling That Way, Winds of March, Lights. Love that song. Anytime. Feeling That Way into Anytime, right? Ooh, anytime that you want me. Patiently. Revitalized with Perry. Schoen seems thrilled. One of the things that Raleigh, as much as I like Greg Raleigh, he gets exposed on those first 3 albums, singing nothing but lead. And I like Raleigh's voice, but I love it when it's paired up with Steve Perry on albums like this, albums like Evolution and Departure, because I think it's too one-dimensional a voice, and Perry's able to take a melody of Schoen and really make it explode, because he can sing anything. He can sing the phone book, and that's where he is. So, again, we got Freedom at 15, Generations at 14, Eclipse at 13, Revelation at 12, Trial by Fire at 11, Arrival, the first with Augeri at 10, Look into the Future, their second album at 9, Next, the third album at 8, Raised on Radio, the 1986 record, 2 times platinum at 7, Frontiers at 6, Departure at 5, Evolution at 4, Journey's debut at 3, Escape at 2, and Infinity. That's my ranking. Check out my channel. We only talk about great music every single day here on Intersection Records. Peace out. See ya.